Hi Kristian, my name is Thor. I am a watch collector and today I'm very glad to see you because as a watch collector I always love the camera and take a picture because it can capture and expressing my collection. Could you please tell me about yourself?
Yes, well thank you for having me. I'm I guess you could say I have a marketing background originally, but started my photography journey when I was 15 years old and bought my first Leica camera about just before I turned 16. So I've been using Leica for now for 32 years.
Oh wow!
Yes. As a professional for around 24 years. I've also worked as a Leica Academy manager of Thailand previously and worked predominantly in news, sports, entertainment, editorial and commercial. So a lot of variety of photography in my career. And of course I love watches too. And by that I mean I'm obviously a small collector myself, but I also worked in the watch media too. So photographing for brands, for watch media, Time and Tide for example.
Oh, very famous one.
Yeah, and it's been a great journey which has led me to working with Leica where I'm bringing the two worlds of photography and watchmaking together, which is connected by time. Time that we use in photography and then time with the watches.
Today we are here in the Leica store in Siam Paragon. We have the event together. You and my member, the watch collector. What is the main purpose of this event and what you expect that they can take away?
Well, firstly, as a camera brand, we love to connect to the community, the photography community, and of course it makes sense to reach out to the watch community to bring them in, to help them understand a little bit about our brand, our history. For example, a lot of people aren't aware that we started our journey before photography in watchmaking, in horology, where our founder Ernst Leitz had done an apprenticeship as a fine mechanic in Neuchâtel in Switzerland, where he learned about fine engineering. He worked with a very famous inventor called Matthias Hipp. And Matthias Hipp was responsible for timing mechanisms for railroads, chronoscopes, and so Ernst Leitz's journey into watchmaking and as a fine mechanic really helped him bring those skills to Wetzlar, where he ended up owning an optical institute, which he then made microscopes with, which obviously led to Oscar Barnack coming in, and then of course we put the timing mechanism that we'd learned from horology in Neuchâtel into our cameras, and that's what helped us revolutionize photography by being able to capture time at the speed of light. Previous to that, photography was very still and slow and heavy, and so we made photography portable and accessible for everybody to capture moments. And so what we want to do is share that passion and our love of photography and time with your watch community.
Yeah, it's same. Look like it's the same.
Exactly. And of course, these are two passions that a lot of us share together. Of course, we understand that shooting watches is part of the social aspect of a community group with watches. And why not do it with Leica cameras? So I think what I'm hoping to achieve today is to basically bring my knowledge and experience and give people some valuable insights into watch portraiture. I don't really call it product photography, it's more portraiture, because my approach is very much to look at a watch like a person. Look at the characteristics, look at the personality, the complications. The complications is the different parts of the personality of the watch.
Yeah, it's not just a product shot, right?
That's right, and we want to bring out that personality, that soul out of that watch, so to speak, and give people some images that can really, I guess you could say, hit them emotionally, you know. Because I think that watchmaking and then of course watch ownership is very much an emotional connection between us and our watch. And so by bringing that photography into it with Leica cameras, I think it really brings out the best of the watch.
Yeah, okay. And when you looking at the watch, because the watch has many details.
Yes.
The dial, the case, the strap, everything. What you're looking for before you doing the photograph?
Well, as you mentioned, all the different elements of the watch need to be take it into careful consideration. So it's like when I meet a person, and before I photograph them, I'm not just going to take them, put them here and take photos. I'm going to talk to them first. I'm going to get to know them. Look at their body language, look at the shape of their face, look at the way the light creates shadows on their facial features. It's the same with the watch. I'm going to look at the silhouette of the watch. I'm going to look at what complications the watch has, what I need to demonstrate and show. Does the watch have one standout feature or is it two or three? How do I highlight these in that one picture? And typically that's what I'm going for. I'm going for that one really good picture. We can get other pictures too.
Right.
But I'm always going for that one great portrait that will hit us emotionally and hopefully make the watch, not only the watch collector happy, but maybe even the designer of the watch.
Oh, wow.
Because when I'm thinking about photographing a watch, I want the designer to be able to look at that picture and say, I'm proud of that, what I did. I'm proud of my work. And so as a photographer, I have that responsibility to the designer, to my subject, to bring out the very, very best.
Kristian, as I'm your student for the class today, I saw a lot of technique that you use when you're doing the photography. So what is the key technique that you can share to us?
I think the first thing is that we approach the photography like it's a portrait. So it's not a product for marketing specifically, that it is a portrait of something that we love, that is close to us, that we cherish, that we have that feeling towards, like a family member,
Yeah.
And so I want to take care in that way. The second would be the setting sort of standards of quality. For example, we want to make sure we light the lugs. All parts of the watch should have light. It doesn't always have to be very bright, but there needs to be an outline for the silhouette of the watch. So if we cut off the light on the lugs and we can't see the lugs very well, it's like not seeing somebody's legs in a full frame photo.
Yeah, got it.
So we need to do that. We need to avoid reflections. We need to have the hand set in the correct position, which would be evenly balanced around the dial without blocking complications or the logo. Just simple things like this. Cleaning the watch, all of that is super important. And then I think the third thing is just understanding how to bring out the best, I guess you could say, the best attributes of the watch. So the first thing is always to set up a scene for the watch. It could be something very simple, like a clean piece of paper. It could be some books. It could be a wallet next to it. It can be accessories. We can
Camera.
make a lifestyle camera,
Yeah.
of course. So once we set that up, we want to find a really good position for the watch. Some watches sit great straight. Some watches sit better when they're leaning on a book. Some of them you kind of want to have it just flat out if it has a leather strap, for example. So it all depends on the strap and everything. And so that's the first thing we do. And I think probably the last thing I'd say is that we want to make sure that we have enough time for setup. Don't be in a rush to shoot.
Yeah.
If you have 10 minutes, spend 8 minutes setting it up and 2 minutes shooting.
Okay.
We don't need to shoot a lot of pictures.
80-20, yeah.
Exactly. We want quality over quantity, and really what we're going for is that one key shot that brings out the best in the watch. Obviously today we had very limited time, so each photo was about 5 minutes to take, which is very little in the scheme of
But
things.
the result is look great.
Yeah, it can if you're experienced. Typically it would take a little bit longer for the
Yeah,
average
yeah,
person, but
yeah.
it's worth it if you love your watches.
Yeah. And then for me as maybe I'm amateur of the take photo of the watch. What the key element that you think is can make the pictures come alive?
I think it's all about good positioning, good setup, and then I guess the third thing would getting enough light into the dial without too many reflections or any reflection. That's really the key, because I think that of course light and shadow on the watch and everything's really important, but having a good solid foundation for the setup, good positioning of the watch where the watch really looks really good. But then a lot of people fall short on getting enough light into the dial. That's always harder, and what it usually means is they're not putting enough effort into ensuring that light is going in. And because what happens is you want light going in, but you also need to have usually what I call a reflector over the top to cut reflections. But that also kicks light into the dial, and it then lights the hands and indices. You know, sometimes we can throw in a hard light into the dial, but the hands and indices are very dark.
Eyes always do the wrong.
Yeah, so
on the wall.
by adding one extra light into the dial and then having over the top of the reflector, that enables you to avoid reflections, have enough light going into the dial to add contrast, and also lighting the hands and indices adequately.
Yeah. Based on your experience, Kristian, you work with the brand and also the collectors. Do you think about the good imagery is can contribute to the brand image?
Absolutely, and I think that the pandemic really showed how powerful this is, especially with platforms like Instagram and YouTube, where people were using content of their watches to really bring in audiences, right? To build up the watch industry, and I think that has come a long way. That the watch photography in general, from amateurs to professionals, is excellent now. Photography is a bit easier now, but I think that the main thing is passion. People are driven by passion. As somebody that works for the brand, it is very different though. So for myself, I have to shoot images that are obviously shot with a Leica camera. That's really important. The images must have a commercial quality, but they also must look realistic. A lot of brands do use rendering, and then sometimes brands over Photoshop, you could say. So it's really important that our images come across as being relatable and natural, but have that quality that people associate with the Leica camera. And that's our main goal. I guess the second goal would be to really hit people, you know, emotionally, for them to look at it from an aspirational point of view and feel like, hey, I would love to own this, or at least be interested in it.
Yeah.
It's not just all about sales. It's also about just bringing out the best qualities of our products. So I'm not just shooting for the brand. I feel like I'm shooting for the end owners of the watch, the people that will end up looking at those images and then buying that watch. Not just because of the pictures, but at least the pictures get something, that interest peaking, you know, that heart racing a little bit.
Yeah.
Where they want to know more. They're intrigued by the image, and I said it doesn't just hit them here; it hits them here. And that's always been my goal with photography. So nothing's really changed for me. I think that I kind of almost shoot for myself as well.
Because the watch has a lot of detail in the craftsmanship, and for the Leica camera, I think the craftsmanship is no doubt you are on the top tier. And compared to the Leica watch, is it similar?
Well, that's the thing. It's interesting for people to try and understand why Leica are making watches, because we are, yes, you could say somewhere near the top. That's for the customer to decide, not for the brand to say necessarily, but a lot of customers would put us at the top, and we appreciate that. But I feel that people may feel this way about us because of the fact that we created the 35mm film format, and we're very well known for this, and that revolutionized photography. As I said, it put cameras in everybody's hands. Even the format that the phones are based on was based on the 35mm format. So we may not have had all these great images over the years if it's not for Leica creating this. So with that comes a lot of pressure when we make watches. The expectations of us are huge, but I feel that we've done a lot of great things with that. We've created our own movement from zero.
That's a key one for the watch collector.
Yeah. I mean, how many new brands do you find that will create a new movement?
Right.
As a new watch brand, it's unheard of. But we have a lot of confidence in our manufacturing and our ability to put all our parts come from the one factory. We're not, bringing in hand and indices and dials. A lot of brands do this, and there's nothing wrong with that. But obviously, there's a lot of work that goes into being able to manufacture everything together and being able to put it together in a whole new design movement, of which we brought in a few different people. We brought in Akim Heiner, who's a camera designer, Andreas Streller, who's a watchmaker, a very well-known watchmaker, and then Reinhard Meiss came from Lange, who was very well known for bringing the company back in the early 1990s with his Lange 1 datagraph, a lot of very key watch movements, and we're very proud to have worked with him on this project. So you can see the extent and the effort that we put into bringing this, and it took 7 years of research and development to get to this point. So we are very confident that the quality and the craftsmanship and the precise engineering that we put into our cameras has translated over into our watches. Now, it will take time for the market to understand this, to appreciate it in the way that we would like. And we don't have, as I said, the big budgets of much larger luxury brands, but we are very confident in our product, and we are sure that over the test of time, people will look at it and say, wow, this is something really interesting. They're just going to take a couple of minutes to investigate a little bit deeper into our watches.
Okay. Thank you, Kristian, for your spending your time with us today. And as a watch collector group, I think we have learning today a lot, and you give us a knowledge and insight how to take a good photo of the watch. So hope to see you next time.
Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure to have your audience, your collector community here, and all of us to share passions. It's always great having a conversation with someone who loves watches as much as myself. So yes, thank you very much, and hope to see you again.
Okay.
ขอบคุณครับ
สวัสดีครับ